I'm not frozen. I was just kidding. Hey, what's happening, everybody? Rob Lohman here, going live just to say a few things, check in. I've kind of put a little pause on the good old live TV show, but that's going to kick up here very shortly again on a regular basis, regular programming coming right to you. That's right, you listening, watching right now. But hey, we are live and we are hanging out here on good old Facebook. Hey, we're actually out there on YouTube. We're out there on Periscope, on Twitter. That's the fun thing about using this StreamYard app, because you can go live on multiple platforms. So, hey, guys and gals, hey, individual person, to you watching, whether there's 1,000 people, 10, it doesn't matter, because you are the one hearing this in your own ears. So I wanted to tap into this for a few minutes because there are just some cool things happening I wanted to tell you about. So one of the questions I have for you is, has God put a vision on your heart to do something? Do you feel like there's something inside of you that's just screaming to get out and you don't know how to do it? Now, maybe it possibly could be that God's calling you to start a business. All right. Or maybe God's calling you. Now, if any of these resonate with you watching now or in the replay, just put something in there. Is God calling you to do something? Now, keep in mind, this is a public post. So if you say, God's calling me to leave my job, and your boss is going to watch this, probably don't put that in there, but shoot me a private message. So, is God calling you to do something? And what could it be? Is it to write not just write a song, but write and record that song? Not just write the song, but write and record the song, but then write, record, and get it out there and take the next step to actually get it out on the radio or wherever. That's the beautiful thing about social media now. You can do all sorts of things, have your own TV show, that kind of fun stuff. Maybe God's calling you to write that book that's inside of you. Maybe you've overcome so many things in your life and you have a story, but maybe you don't think people want to hear it. Well, I tell you this, if you're still breathing, God has a plan for you. And if he's calling you to write a book, write that book. If it's calling you to write that song, write that song. Calling you to run that first marathon, run that first marathon. Calling you to drop 20 pounds, go drop 20 pounds, right? But a lot of times you don't know how the heck to do this. And it's maybe something that's been burning inside of you for a while, and you're like, don't worry about it, I got this, it'll happen, but it hasn't happened yet. So here's a cool opportunity to jump in and join a really cool community of people that can help that happen for you. Not happen for you, that didn't even make sense, but a community of people that can pour into you, right? So that calling that God's put in your heart can become a reality. Last year, there were several things that were churning up inside of me, churning up inside of myself. And God was doing some work inside of me, right? And then it was just like, hey, man, get out and do a challenge, do a summit, do something to share what God's put on my heart. I didn't know how to do that. I do social media, I do this kind of stuff, but I didn't know how to do like a summit, right? With COVID last year, all these summits were popping up. I mean, every time you turn on Facebook or Instagram or something, it's like, hey, I got a summit, I got a challenge. I'm going to teach you how to make $1 million. I'm going to teach you how to drop 20 pounds. I'm going to teach you how to do this. And it's all over. And once you engage in something like that, that's kind of like all you see on Facebook now. Maybe you've seen the Facebook ads I have out for IStillBelieveChallenge.com. It starts February 1st. But in the process of all this, I'm just going to ask you the question, has God called you to do something? Right? When God calls us to do something, he'll make it happen. He qualifies the call, right? He doesn't call the qualified most of the time. He qualifies the call. I mean, heck, look at the disciples. Wow, those guys weren't in any real position to lead people. But if God is calling you to do something and you don't know how to do it, I just want to encourage you to just write that thing down that God's calling you to do. Put it on paper and say, God's calling me to tell my story in a book. God's calling me to start a podcast. God is calling me to do an online challenge, or God is calling me to write down the woman or man of my dreams. God is calling me to love my spouse better, but I don't know how. God is calling me, whatever it is, God, there's got to be something inside of you that's been burning and just kind of this dream, this passion, there's something to do, right? So now I want to invite you to be a part of this challenge. And maybe you have a friend, maybe it's not you, but you know a friend that you just like, oh my gosh, they just can't stop talking about this thing they want to do, and they don't know how to do that. Well, that is what this challenge is all about. It's to help individuals, help you really clarify what is it God's burning inside of you to get out, right? And then, but actually before that even happens, first we have to believe in who God says we are. Like, I love this shirt I'm wearing right now. I mean, check this shirt out. It is totally awesome. Jesus, the rock on which I stand. Now, I'll tell you, by saying this and wearing these shirts, and that's one of my tools to reach people, is that, there are people that have turned away from me because I'm all about Jesus and I love my faith. And, I don't walk around with a Bible like, hey, read this, but I'm passionate about it. And people know that, right? And so I wear t-shirts around a lot because I get all sorts of comments a lot of times like, hey, dude, cool shirt, or really, or just these looks. And that's okay, because this is one way to interact and get the conversation started with people. Okay. So by doing that, but it was like all because of inspiration from other things that I've done to do that. So if you have something in your heart and you want to get it out, God's put something there. I want to encourage you to go to istillbelievechallenge.com, which starts February the 1st. Okay. That's Monday, 4 days from now. We kick this off. And it's going to be an amazing journey that so many people have already registered for and signed up for. And I'm encouraging them to say, hey, bring 4 or 5 of your friends along with you, because it's so much fun to do this kind of stuff together. And we're literally going to walk through, how do you truly dive in and believe what God says about you? And then whatever that calling is that God has on your heart, how do you get it out to people? How do you really, truly step into that? And what's holding you back? Overcoming limiting beliefs, which stems from fear, which when we can be solid in our faith in who God says we are, we can push fear aside, right? No longer slaves to fear. Zach Williams song, totally awesome. Okay. So, and out of that, we're going to just dive into like, how do you actually step into making that a reality for yourself? A cool plan of action. This, who does God say we are? What's God calling me to do? How do I make it happen in a reality, a tangible thing that actually happens? So again, whether it's a podcast, writing a book, starting a business, or just being a better dad or a better wife, or whatever it might be, right? To just step into that calling that God has in your heart. And again, you might be sitting in a job right now that isn't quite fulfilling enough for you, but you know that you want to step out and do this, but you're afraid because the income's there. And then you're like, God, if I step into this thing you're calling me to do, then I'll be broke and on the street and stuff. But guess what? Guess what? God is our provider. So if we believe in the provider, he will bring the provision. Right? Believe in the provider, he'll bring the provision. It may not be in the timing you want, but God qualifies the called. So if there really is something burning inside of you that God's calling you to do, take a chance on yourself, invest in yourself. This challenge is totally free. So all you got to do is register for it. Go to istillbelievechallenge.com, register for it. Check out some more of the details right there and see what it's all about. It's a totally free offering I'm giving to people to just say, hey, this is what God has done in my life through the years. I mean, you think about the Egyptians, right? And they're going through and it was like, oh, God, save me. Oh, we're struggling again. God, save me. Or we're struggling again. God, save me. But then you can look at like this imagery. If you remember the Indiana Jones movie, right? Hola, Joe. Hola, Joe. Hi, Joe. Joe's one of my new friends. We've become friends. I love it. I'm actually going to be on Joe's. He's doing a 21 day of Proverbs tomorrow morning. I'll be on at 5 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So I'll share it on my page and you can check that out as well. But there's my friend Joe. So, but when you sit there and you step into your calling and all that kind of stuff, right? And it's like, hey, I'm here. Now what do I do? And it's crickets because you're doing it alone. Well, join this community of people and we're going to do it together. So I want to encourage and challenge you to just go to istillbelievechallenge.com. Just go check it out. We start Monday, February 1st, but just go look at it and say, hey, this looks cool. I'm going to deliver content. We're going to have tons of fun, lots of value. I mean, it's going to be like, wow, I never thought this was possible to actually step into what God's calling me to do. But now I think I can. No, I don't think I can. I believe I can. And that belief is going to be the thing that makes it go forward, right? So I'm going to invite you to that. Share this post with people. Invite your friends. Please go check out istillbelievechallenge.com. And like Langston said there, be encouraged. That's right, brother. Be encouraged. Man, it is encouragement is what keeps people going. Isolation kills us. As an entrepreneur, you can think like, man, it's lonely being an entrepreneur sometimes, but not when you have an amazing group of people around you that breathe life into you and all that stuff. And that's what you'll get in here. So if you go to istillbelievechallenge.com right now, go check it out right now. Just open another window while I'm talking and go there and register. I got another video on there, but just skip that and just register. But it's going to be awesome. There's going to be tons of fun we're going to have. And the I Still Believe movement is a movement that you'll hear a lot about over this next year and beyond. But if I don't believe in what I am doing, then how is it going to become something, right? If I don't believe in what's in front of me, what I'm putting my life and my effort and stuff into, why would I even expect it to become something? Okay. So hear this. When you look at I still believe, I'll just say this, the middle letter in that is I. If I don't believe all this stuff, if I don't believe who God says I am, if I don't believe who I am in Christ, then how can I walk forward and preach, and not preach this, but you know what I'm saying, say this to people and stuff, but I believe it. You know, I believe all that I'm bringing to people. I believe that God has me in a position as a Christian interventionist. I believe that God has called me to help people with addictions, to break free from the bondage of addiction and move into freedom. That is why I work with families all over the country that have family members that are struggling with addiction, right? That is where God's called me. But along the way, what God's really called me is to bring hope and inspiration and a grounding to people that says, it doesn't matter all this other stuff, right? If you don't believe it, if I don't believe in it, it's kind of nothing, right? If I don't believe that I am God's child, if I don't believe that God calls me a saint, if I don't believe I am God's workmanship, if I don't believe that I am part of the vine, if I don't believe I'm a citizen of heaven, if I don't believe I'm a new creation, then all this other stuff's just a bunch of hook-em-a-roll. I don't even know if hook-em-a-roll is even a word. Somebody look it up. Could be a word, hook-em-a-roll. That's going to be my new word, hook-em-a-roll. But the bottom line is it all starts with belief. And whatever defines that belief is going to define what direction we go. So for much too long in my own life, I believed I was a failure. For a big period of my life, I believed I was a loser. For a big period of my life, I believed all this stuff that God does not say about me. But now I believe the opposite. I believe I'm a child of God. I believe he's created me in a very unique and wonderful way. I believe he has big plans for me and my future. I believe all that now. So I'm inviting you to come believe it with me and the crew that's going to be a part of this. For all of and I've already registered and signed up for this. You know, it starts Monday morning at 8:30 a.m. Colorado time. But go register. You'll get the email. It'll say, here's the details. And it's going to be a powerful time that we're going to have together. Over 14 days, we get to spend together every other day in community. And it's going to be great. It's going to really help you believe in who God says you are, clarify the calling he has on your heart, discover how do you get it out to people like that, and then put a plan and some action behind it. It's going to be awesome. So, hey, I know this. Do you know why? Because I joined a challenge similar to this last year, and that moved me into action. And I'm like, dude, this is exactly what I needed, you know? And it was fired up and exciting and community and all that stuff. And I'm like, man, I believe in that, right? And that's the stage that God's been setting for me this whole time. So join me, istillbelievechallenge.com. Go check it out. I'm going to go check the registration after this and see who jumped in. But please, guys, share this video. Invite your friends. If you register, tell 4 or 5 of your friends to come do it with you, because then you can do this together. And I'm telling you, it's going to be powerful. It's going to be awesome. And I'm believing that for you. I'm believing that there's a breakthrough coming for you that you're going to get at this challenge. And it's called a challenge for a reason. It's going to push us. It's going to move us. But the end result will not be one of regret. It will be one of like, thank goodness I took that action today instead of waiting for 6 more months or 2 more years or 10 years. Man, if God's got a book, a song, a business, a podcast, something you want to start inside of you, come hang out, check it out. I mean, you know, in the last many years, several years, you know, I've been able to, you know, launch an amazing business. I've been able to launch 2 podcasts, do online challenges and summits and all those things. And it's just getting out there and doing it. So come on, hang out, register. We'll see you there. That's all I got for today. Have a great one.